there is what you can do, there is what you are doing, and there is what you should be doing. This is what I can do. Beyond the gold medal, always am I really improving? I know you've won, right? But do you really go? I know you are performing, but are you stretching yourself? I know you are excelling, but are you evolving? So these are some of the questions you ask yourself. That's why the greatest competition you can have in life is not really competing with people. After competing with everybody, after competing with everyone in my environment, what next? Now compete with yourself. There's no John has just gotten admission into one of the Unity schools in Nigeria, just like every other student. He was determined. He had clear goals that, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve that. I want to be the best graduating student in my, department, in my class, every section. So he was really determined about this, and from GS1 he kept the ball rolling. He did all he can, study when he ought to study, and as God will have it, he made it, he got it. He was the top of the class in GS1, and luckily again for him, consistently again for him, he was able to maintain that through to SS2. But here's my point now. When he gets to SS2, he was opportune to represent the school in a particular competition, and this competition now is now bringing in other schools from other schools in other states in Nigeria. So while he was actually elected by the school that he is the one fit to represent the school for the competition, he went. On getting to the competition, something happened. Something happened. Because meaning for him being chosen, then it means he's the best of he's the best in the school, right? But something happened in the competition. When he got there, he realized that he was even struggling to maintain the 9th position. He was really struggling to maintain 9th position out of 10 schools that really surfaced for the competition. So he was struggling to maintain 9th position. Then he looked back and asked himself, does it mean my result from GS1 is really a lie? Sometimes if you don't leave your father's farm, you won't know how big other people's farm is. You won't know actually. Like some of us, you think you've done so much, but getting here and seeing other people, you like, wow, I've not really done so much. You have not really done so much. And that's why today I'll be talking about the real enemy called average. The real enemy called average. And sometimes you won't even know. You won't know he's an enemy. You won't know. Like the boy, he didn't know actually. He didn't know. But there is really a real enemy called average. And one of the worstest things that can happen to a man is to not even know he's an enemy. Better when something is wrong or something is not supposed to be that way, then you start start trying your best to ensure that thing is being improved or being added on. But now you don't even know it's an enemy. That's where the problem comes in. He didn't know over time that although I was the top, I was the best in my school, but come on, I'm not really doing anything at all. And that result made him do something that I believe some of us would have to do after this speech. It's simple. He went back home and he decided to check his results from JSS1 to SS3. To SS2. When checking the results, he realized something, that his score, his average, his average, that's they call it your average percentage. His average percentage was always between 60 to 65. And you write, which means the maximum obtainable average is 100, right? But now you're having 60 to 65. But over time, he checked for GS1, GS2, till SS2. It was still like that, which means although he was progressing in terms of class, but it was not improving. Which means sometimes beyond the prize, beyond the gold medal, always am I really improving? I know you've won, right? But do you really go? I know you are performing, but are you stretching yourself? I know you are excelling, but are you evolving? So these are some of the questions you ask yourself. That's why the greatest competition you can have in life is not really competing with people. After competing with everybody, after competing with everyone in my environment, what next? Now compete with yourself. There's always a better version of yourself. But until you know that, you won't really understand that, oh, it means the essence of competition is not to win someone, but to become better at every time, at every point in time. And as soon as you realize this on time, you will know that although I will see the best in J2, the best in J3, but I'm not really evolving, I'm not going. And until you realize this, you'll not really see a need to really raise the bar for yourself. You don't see the need to raise the bar for yourself. So after taking analysis, then you realize that, oh, I've been doing well. That's in this environment, but it means I've not even been doing the obtainable, because we have 100 and I'm having just 60 something. It means there is still much more to be done. So I say that to say, irrespective of the level or the height or whatever you think you've attained, there is still much more. But the only reason why you think that's all that can be seen is because that's all you're seeing currently. So right now, it means you have to enlarge your tentacle. You have to think bigger. Look big. I was saying yesterday that don't think with the boss. Don't think outside the boss. Think without the boss. Think without it. Because it takes people to think. It takes human or individual thinking behind the boss to do the extraordinary. Not ordinary, extraordinary. Think without it, because as much as you thinking within it, outside it, the box is still there. It's still there, which means the limitation is still there, the bar is still there. So the real enemy is average. And now you look back, what's really average? The truth is, average for me would not be average for you. Yes, we won't have the same definition for average. We won't. Imagine, a student who from GS1 to GS3, he has been, the best in his class, right? The first very one. And another student who from GS1 to GS3, he has only been the third position. Their level of raising the bar of average won't be the same thing. It won't be the same thing. So understanding that the enemy is average, then what is really average? What is really average? Average is you settling for little when you can do more. Average is you settling when you can still stretch. Average is you doing below your potential, because in life you must realize there is what you can do, there is what you are doing, and there is what you should be doing. There's what I can do, there's what I'm doing, and there's what I should be doing. So in life, sometimes we do what we can do, not knowing there is still what we can do. And until you realize what you can do, what you should do, you will stay in that zone of what you can do. And as much as you're doing what you can do, you will not realize that there is still much more to do. I could still remember, talking about this challenge, for instance. At first, when I saw it on my friend's status, I just started out, how far now, I would love to really partake from this. And she said, okay. She added me to the group. After adding me to the group, I was following up, and I realized initially she said twice that we are only going to speak twice, like 2 times, because there were a lot of people. From there it moved to 4 times. Later we saw 10, you're speaking 10 times, right? The last week. And everyone was like panicking on the group. They said, okay, just come for the first 6 days first. Let's just see what we can do. But here we are. We are moving. Here we are. I could still remember the first time I was asked to speak, because after 12, I was like, after 12, that's 12 a.m. I was thinking, how would my voice sound? Will I really do this? But here we are. Some of us have even spoken 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6. See, your life can't remain the same. That's not the true fact. Your life, it can't remain the same. You know what it means? Like back to back. Back to back. But them is really an enemy, what's called edge. That some of us, that you don't even know. It's not, some of us will be priding that, I can really talk. Even if you wake me to come and speak, I will talk. But that day, I really realized if they had waked me before now, I wouldn't be able. Because I was not even sleeping, but 12 a.m. Should I just go and tell them that they should just ask someone else that later I'll come? Yes! I mean it. That was what I was thinking in my mind. But I came up and I did it. So I want you to, there's really an enemy called average, but if you don't realize, you will just camp where you are. And before you know, your safe spot will become your comfort zone. It's different. Your safe spot, yes, it was meant to really save you for the moment, but you make it a comfort zone and you just stay there. You just stay still there. But immediately you realize that there is really an enemy called average, then you know what to do. Then you know you have to move. Then you know you have to leave. There is an enemy called average. And I really want that to get into our, to our mind. There is an enemy called average. There is an enemy called average. Now, the next question I should ask myself is, why is there really an enemy called average? Or what really makes this enemy called average thrive? And that will bring me to the human body. Yeah, I'm an health educator by profession, even if I have not really been speaking on that. And I want you to understand something in your body. In your body. And that's the fact that you should really understand the way your brain works. If you really want to maximize some certain things, you really have to know the way it works. Because if you work with the system, it will be easy to flow with the system. But immediately you try working against a certain system, there's what's friction, right? And friction is taking away your energy. It's taking away your energy. So even if you have 70% of energy, now you're wasting some on friction. While you're still using some for the real work. But what if you take away the friction? It means you'll be more productive that way. So the first thing I want you to really understand is how your brain really works. And someone, I think I can't really remember, but I know one of the speakers said something. She was like, if this AC, right, the height of this AC, that something happen now, most everyone here will fly above it, isn't it? Yeah, okay, above that height. But do you really know the concept behind that? You should understand something about the brain. The brain is actually wired in a way that it's thriving survival mode. What do I call it? Survival mode. So if anything happens now, the brain is thinking, how can I survive? How can I survive? And sometimes whatever you do consistently will continually be in that survival mode. So over time your brain will treat that survival mode as a comfort zone. That whenever you not even think of, let me take on new routine. Okay, I want to wake up more earlier. I want to start reading my book consistently. You want to start doing something that is not the normal routine. Your brain will start now fighting against it. Why? Because there's a survival mode somewhere. Your brain will start fighting against it. And if you don't realize your brain is only fighting at the initial state, that does not mean that is what will continually happen. You might just, let me just relax, let me just give up. But immediately you understand that at every point you take on, new activity, new routine, your brain will first fight against it. But if you can break through that barrier, then it moves you to the next stage. That is called neuroplasticity. At this stage now, what the brain does it rewires, which means there is an original wiring, right? There's an original wiring. So immediately I start saying, okay, by 4 a.m. I'm going to do this, by 4 a.m. I'm going to do it, and you do it, let me say, for 6 or 7 times. Your brain is now rewiring to adapt to that new habit. So if you're able to stay consistent for 6 or 2 weeks, you see yourself now doing that routine that was initially something what you're forcing yourself to do. You see yourself doing it almost without any, how will I put it down, without any friction. Why? Because you break through that barrier of survival. So I say that to say that the brain initially tries on survival. But immediately you start understanding this, you will know that much more than survival, you can train and maximize your brain for what? For greatness, for more productivity, for it to be more what? For it to be more efficient for you. And that way you can now thrive and move beyond the barrier of what? Average. But start by what? By understanding the way your brain works and building a routine that flows with it and not against it. That flows with it, because at every time you try to work against your brain, you are how will I put it now? You are creating a friction, and that friction is reducing what? Your energy. And even sometimes you won't even assimilate what you're doing, because now you're working against the brain. But when you understand this, okay, at the initial stage, I might just be having some little struggle, but it will not always be like that. And that alone will help you stay true. Which leads me to my second point now. Average becoming a safe zone. Average becoming a safe zone. And when average really becomes a safe zone is when now you're finding a reason to stay there. And I'm going to give an example. For instance, you're finding a reason to stay there. Like someone asking you, okay, why do you perform poorly in these assessments? Why do you do this? Yes, I know there will always be a reason for something, but then don't take pride in the reason. Don't take pride in it. Like don't see it as normal. Don't see that, no, that's just the best I can do. No. Because immediately you start taking pride in your reason for failing, or your reason for not attaining a certain height, you start embracing that average. You start embracing that enemy called average. And that way over time you just feel safe where you are. You just feel comfortable where you are. And you don't even see the need to challenge the system. You don't see the need to stretch yourself. You don't see the need to evolve beyond your current you. The enemy called average. Another thing I want you to understand is average is not accidental. It's not. It's actually built over time. Just looking at the first story I talked about, he was still the top of his class, JS1 to JS2. But he didn't know it was only piling on the same level of productivity. He didn't know it was just repeating the same level here, the same level of performance, instead of evolving, instead of increasing, instead of becoming better. And over time it even becomes a blind spot. A blind spot. Because you just be okay, this is just what I can do, this is just what I can do, and you start defining yourself by that. This is what I can do. Yes, I've done it over and over and over again, and I believe this is really what I can do. But there is still much more. But for you to really harness that much more, you have to first of all realize that the average you're having now is an enemy. An average for some people might not be even 60 something, it might be 90 something. Yes, it might be 90 something. But for you to really realize that even if I'm having 90 something, there is still much more to be done. There is still much more. It takes a level of you first of all identifying that where I am really currently is what is an enemy called average. You've seen a level of some business people and you'll be like, what is this man still looking for? Trying to venture into another business or trying to scale his or her business. What is he really looking for? It's because he realized beyond business there is still much more to achieve. There's still much more to be attained. And one of the systems we have that really sustains that enemy called average is our environment. Yes, our environment. Sometimes if you've not really seen the way things is being done in other places, you will not really know something is not right. Like being in Nigeria, for instance, when how will I call it? I don't want to call it in the wrong way. Okay, when the electricity is actually being restored now, locally or normally in Nigeria, in Nigerian we say happy up NEPA, right? Can we relate? You're not listening to me. Up NEPA, right? But they're actually doing their work. You're not. It's like me coming to work in the morning and you're telling me, welcome. I don't know if you're getting me. They're really doing their work. If you're in places that there is constant light, I once heard a story of, okay, it's even a classmate of mine. I think we're in SS3 then. So she had an opportunity of going to Ghana. So she said when she got to Ghana, the first thing, she carried her phone, she charged, carried her power bank, she charged. She now realized that once the phone is 90 something, she still go back again and charge. She go back again and charge. But she got to say, she said she's even tired of charging. Why? Because she now actually posted something on her status that because of the usual nature of our country, power bank, phone 0%, power bank dead. He said, but I've been here for weeks now. I'm even tired of charging. There's still, you get into a place whereby because of where you're coming from, you are used to charging. Even if you're having 90 something, you still want to charge because anything can happen. Once they sever the lights now for days, they might not bring it again. Right? So there is a way that alone has reorientate your mind. There's a way that reorientate your mind. And you having that culture, you don't even want, like, once you just see the lights, you're just thinking of what can I charge before it's being taken. And I remember what really happened to me when I got to where I'm serving currently. Initially, when I got there, I'll be charging my system, like using my system with lights. But a time came, I just was like, no, I just have to learn this right. I'll literally remove my system. Sometimes my system will really go off before I know that I'm really supposed to charge. Why? Because I'm so sure there's light. I don't know if you're getting me. I'll literally walk, my system just go down. It will even be 0%, I will not still charge. Why? Because I know whenever I want to charge, the light is there. There will always be light. And over time, that has now reorientated me, instead of running whenever the light is being restored, to what? To staying still. So the first thing that causes it is your environment. And the second thing is, the social cycle you're in. The cycle you are in. Because I actually believe that in the atmosphere of great people, greatness becomes normal. They don't think about it. You want to go for this, go for it. But imagine you are in the wrong circle. If you're in the wrong circle, they'll just talk you out of some certain thing. But why will you do that? It's too big. It's not for someone like you. You can't really achieve it. Even you telling them alone, they will find a failure story to tell you that really match up with what you say. And that way you not see a need to move further. You not really see a need to dream bigger. Why? Because you're in the wrong circle. So there is really an enemy called average. Another thing is your cultural belief. You have to really think of, when you see cultural belief now, it's just like an operating system. It's actually behind the scene. It's defining to you what is possible and what is not possible. It's interpreting your experience for you. And it's even, shaping your daily routine and telling you, okay, this thing you're doing is right, this thing you're doing is not right. And somehow it even determines what you access and what you will not access. Because over time, your culture has engineered your mind. Because over time, your belief has engineered your thoughts. And you start thinking, okay, this thing is possible and this thing is not possible for me. Whereas people are out there doing much more than that. Your cultural growth, your cultural cycle. So what is sign that an individual is under the attack called enemy called average? What are the signs I should look out for? If I really want to, know, am I really under this? Am I really being held down by my last result? Can what I'm doing, it doesn't mean what I'm doing currently, it doesn't mean that's the least I can do. Can I really still do much more? So how can I really identify all of these things? The first thing is, you feel okay where you are. I'm okay. You're not seeing the need to challenge yourself. You're not seeing the need to put in further course. You're not seeing the need to do much more. You're not seeing the need to think. You're just okay where you are. That's a sign. Yes, I know you're successful to some certain extent, but I want you to still know there is still much more you can do. There is still much more. Okay, imagine a young boy in somewhere in the bush, the youngest in the family. Is he really? I can't really remember that now. A young boy, and even being a young boy, he has been able to kill lion. He has been able to kill, bear, to kill some really wild animal with his bare hands now. I believe that's a level of success now. Yes, it's a level of success. But the boys still see, another giants are. Even the king of what will I call it now? The king of the community. Will I say community now? Okay, let me use that word for lack of better words. The king of the community was even afraid of confronting the giants. And this boy is coming with just his little results and was like, I can really do this. I can do this. But it takes him not, taking pride in his former victory. It takes him not really seeing his former success that, oh yes, I've killed a bear lion, I've killed bear. As a safe zone and, saying that since I've done that, then it's okay. Even at this my tender age, but still, he plunged more deeper. And that way met them and it was like, I can really confront, this Goliath. The popular story. And I believe some of us will beginning to, connect the dots now. I can really confront this Goliath. And even when his brothers were like, no, don't do this. You're just a boy. He went ahead and defeated the Goliath. But I want you to understand what really gave him success was the mindset he had even before going. Because some of the reason why some of us are where we are is because of the mindset you are having. And sometimes before you can really expand, before you can really evolve, you must first evolve your mind. You must first evolve your mind. What can you really see? What can you really imagine? What are you really believing currently? Because your experience is a reflection of what? Of your belief. Your experience is a reflection of your belief. And until you change what you believe, until what you believe begins to what? Evolve, begin to improve, you can't really do above that. So the first thing the boy was like, since I've done this before, I can still do this one, and not just do this one. I will even cut off his head. He was speaking with so much confidence. Why? Because he was not seeing his past success as, you know, as a bus stop, but he was seeing it as, oh, I can still move further, I can still do much more than this. The enemy called average. Another sign that one is under the attack of averages, the individual begins to bring down his standards. Like you set a standard for yourself that, oh, this is the standard I'm really working with, this is the height I want to really achieve. But over time, because you've not really attained it, you've not really achieved it, you start bringing it down for yourself, and somehow you'll be giving reason for bringing it down, that okay, who is really chasing me? I'm still the best now. Who is chasing me? No one is chasing me. Then why have I really raised the banner so high like this? Why don't I just bring it down? Why don't I just dream small? Why don't, even when I see dream small, it's still big? Yes, you're correct, but there is still much more. And sometimes the pain of this is later in life you now realize that although I've done something, but I now realize I can really what? There is even much more I can do. So you underuse what? Your potential. So the goal at the long run is to ensure that you maximize your potential. You release your potential. And for this to really happen, you must identify the enemy called average on time. And now, what's the cost of living average? There is always a cost for it. That's the cost of living average. The first cost you realize is what? You live beyond what? Your potential. As I do believe, potential is not really what you've used, right? But it's what you have that you've not used. You know, it's the life you can impart but you've not yet imparted yet. It's the things you can do but you've not done yet. That's what potential is. And until you really achieve that thing, until you do those things, until you really do those things, you will not really know. You will not really what? Release it. You will not really what? Use the potential. So the first thing or the first regret of living average life is you realize that you didn't even use your potential. You didn't maximize it. Why? Because what? You created a safe zone for yourself. And the next one is your confidence. Your confidence. There's a difference between I've done something before. There's a confidence you have when you've done something before. There's a confidence you have when you've not done something. And there's a confidence you have when you're doing something. And there are three different things. I could imagine, I'll go back to your speech again. One of the speakers, she said something when she embarked on the project and she was like, she needed 300,000, right, for that project. Now, I will tell you that, yes, somewhere in her mind, she actually believes it's possible. But it's a different thing after the program, that beyond believing, she has experienced it's possible. Because sometimes when organization meet you, they don't just want you to give them what you can do. Have you really done it before? Because there's a pressure that comes at that point of performing. There's a pressure that comes with it. And if you've not really experienced it, you can't really share it. You're only talking from your head, you're not talking from your mind. But now that you've experienced it, there's a level of confidence you now have. You can really see a man, he built a company and the company actually went down, and now he built another one and he's thriving. That kind of person, even if something is coming and things will fall apart, he will not really be afraid as someone that has never failed before. So there's really a kind of confidence you have after passing through after having a first-hand experience in something. So beyond the fact that you know it in your head, have you really handled it? Have you really handled it? Because it's in the place of it. That's when you know that there are really some things you cannot do. I remember the first day I came for the rehearsal, I was not really here in the first rehearsal, the second rehearsal, because I saw it on someone's status, which means I really joined very late, and that was this year, and I think it had started last year, right? So the first day I came, I came a bit, not too early, but I actually came early. And I think I waited seeing the last person. I was actually the second to the last to present. Why? Because somewhere in my mind I was like, can I really do this? I was seeing people presenting without flop, presenting without missing word, presenting without, shaking. I was like, can I really do this? And I had to wait. I just said, let me just keep observing. But at that time I speak to myself, will I really come from Badagry and I'll not do anything? No, it's not possible. And I said, let me just do something. Even if I fail, but I know at least I made an attempt. I made an attempt. And while sitting at the back there, I just keep watching. And I did it. So I want you to understand, there are some things that you really have to experience it before you can really be confident about it. And because I could do that 5 minutes, then I know it means I can do 20 minutes. It means I can do much more. So I really want you to understand, yes, it's always a different level of confidence. Oh, you're having a confidence in the dream. Now that you're working on it, now that you're really doing one or two things about that dream, there's a level of confidence that is being built. And even after that achievement, there's a level of confidence you have. Now, because beyond the fact that you know it, you've handled it. So that's confidence. Then the next one is impact. It's impact. One thing that still amazed me over and over again is the fact that the computer we are using presently was actually an idea written by someone. The man was so confident that he documented, even if he could not, if he was really unable to build a physical computer, but he actually documented it. That after centuries after, people went back to that book and they built it. They went back and they built it. So that's what impact means. Some of us, we have some things we've written down. Yes, I understand. But the true impact comes when you start living out that thing. That's where the impact actually comes in. You've been envisioning that, you want to visit some schools, you want to do this for some children. Yes, it can forever be there, but immediately you step out, you start making that potential energy, you start making it kinetic, and you start really imparting life with it. And it's another boy game entirely. If someone asks you, okay, have you really imparted life? You can really say, okay, you have proof, you have numbers. Okay, I've really trained so number of people, I've done this before, and this is even the results. And that alone, there's a level of confidence you have. That beyond the fact that, this boy will actually be of good benefit someday, you can actually now see that indeed you're actually a benefit to some people. That's what the impact now. Now the other part I'll actually be going into is how to defeat the enemy called average. How can I really defeat that enemy called average? The first thing is mindset. I don't know. The word is called mindset, right? Because your mind has been set over time, over and over again. There's a kind of engineering that has really happened, and over time it is being set. If a child is actually being told you're not enough, you can't do it, you really fail, it's not meant for people like you. You can think you're not doing anything, but really you're doing something. You're doing something. So mind engineering. You want to first of all engineer your mind to be sure that this thing I'm really believing I can really achieve this thing. Okay, this thing I really take pride in, that this is my maximum, or this how far I can really go. Why don't I push the bar for myself and say I can do much more? Yes, I know I've done 2 hours, I've done 1 hour, I've done 3 hours. I can do what? I can do much more. And sometimes until you push that bar, you not really realize that you can really do much more. I can't really remember the name of the man now, but I can't even remember the book, but I'll just say the story. There was this time, there was this belief normally that we cannot run beyond 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Not until one athlete he wants to actually break it. The first thing he did. The first thing was the fact that generally it has been believed that human cannot run beyond 4 minutes. Like that. I'm not talking about sprint now, marathon race. So the first thing the athlete actually did was he first of all start writing it in his book. He wrote it down somewhere in his book, and he said over and over, I just keep visiting it again. I can run beyond 4 minutes. Above 4 minutes. And the reason why they actually said that, there's actually a medical proof to that okay, your heart will beat too fast, too further. You might even become, how will I put it, you'll not be okay. That's why they actually said human cannot run beyond 4 minutes. So the first thing he had to do, he wrote it down. Over time, he started checking it. And apart from checking it, reading it and just imagining himself running beyond 4 minutes. The next thing is he started running. Now, before the Olympic now, started running, rehearsing, and believing that I can actually run beyond 4 minutes. I can run above 4 minutes. And he did that consistently for about 1 year. And by the time the same man will appear for the yearly Olympic competition now, he was actually the first person to break that record of running beyond 4 minutes. And you not really know what happened after he broke that record. Beyond that, many other individuals are now running above 4 minutes. Why? Because somewhere the culture has, the society has already defined something towards that. Oh, it's not actually possible for anybody to run beyond 4 minutes. And over time, people have subconsciously believed that and work with that mindset. That even whenever they want to, it was somewhere in their mind is holding them back to even from running beyond that 4 minutes. And after I broke it, even more than 20 or more than 100% now has even broken that record. Why? Because there was someone that decided to first of all re-engineered his mind. Because there is always a certain setting. Everyone mind has been set. There's always a way your mind has been structured over time due to experience, due to exposure, due to your environment. So really, to really move beyond average, the first thing is to address that mind. To address the mind and expand it, evolve it in a positive way and make it really reflect where you want to be. And the second thing you have to do after that is what? Raise your standard. Yes, you've engineered your mind. There's a certain belief that you believe about success, about wealth, and now you've changed it. Now raise the bar for yourself. Probably you're doing 2 before, you're doing 4, you're doing 5. Why don't you think of the way you can do much more? Think of the way you can do much more. And after that, you embrace what? You embrace discomfort. Sometimes people can be like people now. Beware of when love or where sympathy or where comfort has become a safe zone that now hinder you from even moving further. Beware of that time. There might be a certain time whereby yes, you have to be there, but also know when you're staying there has become a blind spot that you have to forge further. And at that point, it won't be comfortable. Yes, it won't be rosy, it won't be like sweet, or it won't be like honey. But you understanding that I have to rise to responsibility, then you must embrace that discomfort at that moment. Understanding that as time goes on, it will no longer become discomfort. It will no longer become discomfort. And the next one is build discipline around it. Yes, you want to change or you want to become or you want to do much more. Then you build discipline around it. Can develop a system that ensures that you actually do some certain thing on a daily basis. So you don't just build your, let's say, your goal now or your motive. You don't just build your goals on motivation, because motivation would not always be there. I think one of the speakers also said that none of us is being motivated now. We are just pushing ourselves, and to some extent that's true. Just pushing yourself, because the motivation will not it will not always be there. There will be days you wake up and you don't even feel like doing anything, but it's not feeling. You just have to do it. And when there is really a system that helps you do that thing, or that helps you annex your goal, to become much more easy. And the last one is create a system of sustainability. That okay, even after I've done this, after I've achieved this, what next will I be doing? Or what next will I really look up to? So you have to create that system of sustainability. So at the long run, you realize that you're not just yes, you have success, you have a level of progress, a level of success. You will define it correctly. You'll be able to differentiate between the performance and your growth. You'll be able to differentiate beyond your excelling and your and you evolving. Because you must also understand that beyond being good, you can be very good. Beyond being very good, you can be excellent. Beyond being excellent, you can be outstanding. And beyond being outstanding, you can be the exceptional. But until you actually see all of these things, you will know that there are still many dots you can still connect. So it takes understanding. So when someone is priding, yes, I have 68 over 100, yes, it's okay, it's a level of success. And even thinking, much more thinking the fact that, oh, you're even the best, there's nobody that even beats beyond that 68, is good. But there is still much more you can do. There's still much more you can do. And if you don't really see this, if you don't really imagine this, then there's no way you will go for it. So these 20 days we are doing now, yeah, it's cool and fine. But after these 20 days, what else? What next for some of us? Yes, like your personal, yeah, because these 20 days has built something in you. It has developed something in you. What will you be doing with the fire? You just let it stay, because there's tendency that after living here, you have a level of, oh, it means I can do this, I can do that. But what will you really do with the experience? What will you really do with what has really been ignited in you? So it's beyond the 20 days. It's not left for you. You just leave it there. Okay, since I've done 20 days now, just keep the picture and start taking pride in the picture. There is still much more. There's still much more. The enemy called average. So you should know the difference between winning and stretching yourself. You should know the difference between performance and improvement. So at every level of success, every level of achievement, the first question is, yes, I know you've gotten the award, I know you've gotten the reward, you've gotten the results, but have I really evolved? Has it really transformed me? Is there anything changing here? So at every point when you realize that your current environment is not, it's not adding up, because it's not always you really be able to leave the environment. There are some cases where you can't really leave that environment. But rather than setting standard with environment, at that point, set the standard, make yourself the standard. So if I really achieve this at this level, then there is still much more. So just raise the bar again for yourself that, okay, I've attained this height, then I want to see myself do much more. I want to see myself evolve much more. So the key goal here is, there is really an enemy called average. And it's better when you know about that enemy. Because that way you not just walk subconsciously, you walk circumspectly, you walk with wisdom, you walk understanding that, yes, I know I've attained a level of height, but there is still much more I can do. So I'll be concluding with this last word, that don't make your last success the reason for not moving forward. Don't make your last achievement the reason of not achieving the next height. It's okay if you celebrate your progress, but don't make it your blind spot. At every time, always look further, always stretch yourself, always challenge yourself. When no one is even asking, when no one is challenging you, asking question, ask yourself question. What if I do it like this? What if I take this direction? What if I take this route? Will I really achieve much more? Will I do much more? So when there is no more competition, set for yourself, set one for yourself. Because the goal is not really the competition, the goal is to become better. The goal is to do much more, is to become more productive, is to achieve more and become more impactful. Because at the last end, you will not be remembered for what you are, but you will remember for the life you touch, for the things you actually made possible. Okay, so right about now, my name still remains Taida Emily Damilare, and I'll be passing